with the 190 visa, New South Wales wants some professionals, not everyone, and you must have a valid skills assessment. So again, if you are an IT systems analyst, you must obtain a positive skills assessment with the Australian Computer Society. If you're an engineer, you have to obtain a positive skills assessment with Engineers Australia, and so on. Now, having an occupation on the New South Wales list is one thing. Second is getting a skills assessment, because sometimes you may be a chef, but you in real life, but you don't meet the requirements of the organization that assesses your skills, which then means you can't get the skills assessment, therefore you can't apply for the visa. So you gotta make sure that you would be eligible for the skills assessment. Not everyone is, unfortunately. And also, you need to be residing in New South Wales. So if you're watching us today and you're not in New South Wales, unfortunately, you don't qualify for this visa now. Now, should you move to New South Wales and change your life, change your plans, this is not something we can tell you if you can or not. This is a choice you should make. We can look at your eligibility. So for example, okay, if you move to New South Wales, would you qualify? We're going to check if you would then qualify, but we will never, tell you, yes, move to New South Wales and 100% guarantee you're going to be invited, because again, we don't know who's going to be invited. So if you want to take the risk and move here, it's a choice you can make. Not only you need to be living in New South Wales, but you either have to be working in your occupation, or if you're not working, you must be living here for at least 3 months. So if anyone's thinking, okay, I'm going to drop everything and move to New South Wales, you're not going to be eligible for the first 3 months. You would have to be here for at least 3 months. If you meet these requirements, can you then apply for state nomination? No. I need to submit an expression of interest for you. I need to say, okay, this is my client and they're considering nomination by New South Wales for a 190 visa. And I need to wait, and you need to wait, because it's not an active process where with most other states, I get your documentation and I send it to the state in question. And I say, this is my client, they meet the requirements. And now, I believe they qualify. I believe they're able to get nomination. Can you please say yes or no? And then they say yes or no. But with New South Wales, I need to put your expression of interest there and wait for them to select you. They're not going to nominate everyone. And the reason is they only have 4,000 places for the whole financial year for all occupations from people of all types. So they are really choosing who they're going to use their nominations with very carefully. So every month, every couple of weeks, they go into Skill Select and they look at the EOIs and they pick and choose the people that they think, are the best and the brightest, as they say. And then they send those people an email or their migration agent saying, you've been selected to apply for New South Wales nomination. And then and only then I can apply for your nomination. We've never had a case where after selecting a candidate, we applied for nomination and New South Wales said no. If they select you from the pool within Skill Select and you apply and you have the right documents and you worked with a professional who put together a good application, chances are they will say yes to your nomination. But that part between making the expression of interest and being selected is a big question mark. So when I say, if you're not in New South Wales, but you're thinking about coming here, you need to take this into consideration. You may move to New South Wales and never be invited. There's no one that can tell you if you're going to be invited or not. It's, we know what New South Wales is looking for. They give preference to people who are working here, who have very high levels of English, people with doctorates, but that doesn't mean they won't invite you if you don't have a doctorate. We have clients of all types being invited, but it is an answer no one can give you. Now, if you are in New South Wales already, you don't have much to lose by submitting an expression of interest. You're going to have to do your English exam, get a skills assessment, but once you're there, you're giving yourself a chance to be invited. Another thing is you need to have an occupation in their target sector for the subclass 190. So now we're going to look into what occupations they're looking for. So they are looking for cafe and restaurant managers, IT managers, hotel managers, production managers, childcare center managers. They're also looking for lower skills level occupations, such as welfare support workers, which include people who work with as carers for disabled people. We have a lot of clients in that section. Dental hygienists, dental therapists, not dentists, but the assistants or the technicians under them, which is great. There's a lot of people who might qualify. Then there's a lot of tradespeople, including support technicians for IT. So if you're a help desk IT person, or if you are a network person, you normally wouldn't qualify for any of the other visas, but New South Wales is looking for those professionals. Carpenters, mechanics, electricians, civil engineer draftsperson, architectural draftsperson, which if you're an architect, but you can't get recognition in Australia, you could try to get recognized as an architectural draftsperson. What else? Bricklayers, tilers, plumbers, electricians, bakers and pastry chefs, butchers. Butchers are not in demand in nowhere else, just in New South Wales. Hairdressers. Hairdressers used to be a high demand occupation, but for years now, they haven't been. So it's good to see them back in the New South Wales list. And the usual suspects, chefs are there as well, but also cooks. Now, interestingly, New South Wales is also looking for a lot of professionals, such as photographers, journalists, accountants, industrial designers, graphic designers, interior designers, which hasn't been in any lists for ages. So that's really, really good. Food scientists, engineers, as I said, engineers are always in demand in all states for all visas, but they're there as well. Life scientists, so that's for biologists, biochemists, and the like. Teachers, primary school teachers is not in demand, believe it or not, but it is in demand in New South Wales. Pharmacists, physiotherapists, nurses, and all the IT occupations. So recreation officers, that's not something in demand, community arts worker. So there's a number of occupations there that many people could qualify for. So this is great.